Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're the show that takes your source material, an article, a book, some new research, and really just pulls it apart to find the insights you can use. And today, we are diving deep into something that I think hits home for literally everyone. Pressure. I was just talking to a friend last week, actually. His adult son, who's doing great, high-powered career, was just venting about being totally swamped, completely stressed out. And my friend, being a dad, just says, who doesn't have pressure? Look at my job, my bills, my problems.
Right. That's the classic response, isn't it?
It is. And it shows that whether it's work, money, relationships, life just keeps throwing stuff at you.
It's unavoidable. And that is exactly the question we're tackling for you today. Our mission isn't about if you're going to face pressure, but exploring the best ways to, actually deal with it.
That is the mission. And for this, we've synthesized a conversation inspired by the work of the Indian yogi and mystic Sadhguru from the book Encountering Sadhguru Late at Night. And what grabbed me immediately was this radical perspective shift.
Oh, yeah.
We're not looking at two different methods for stress relief. We're looking at two totally different targets.
Exactly. I mean, the core question becomes, do you spend your energy managing the external thing? The crazy deadline, the difficult person, the bill you weren't expecting?
Right.
Or do you manage the internal systems inside of you that react to that thing? The source material makes a pretty strong case that only one of those paths really works long-term.
Okay, so let's unpack that first path then, this idea of the internal shift, because it really does flip the whole idea of stress management on its head.
It really does.
Sadhguru's viewpoint seems to be that focusing all your energy on, shuffling the external world around is, well, it's kind of missing the point.
It is. You're trying to control things that are, by their very nature, uncontrollable. And what's fascinating is the premise behind it. The pressure you feel isn't mainly because the world is pushing on you. It's because of your own difficulty in managing yourself. The source argues that if you feel pressure, it's a sign that you lack a certain mastery over your own internal response systems.
I see. So the prescription isn't to manage the stress, it's to manage the self.
Yeah.
But that sounds huge. When people hear self-mastery, they think of like a decade on a mountain somewhere.
Right. It sounds intimidating.
So what are these core systems we can actually start to manage, today?
That's a fair point. And thankfully, the source material breaks it down into four practical levers you can pull.
Yeah.
4 systems: the body, the intellect, the emotion, and your energy.
Body, intellect, emotion, energy.
Okay. When any of those 4 is running wild without your conscious input, that internal chaos, that's what you experience as pressure.
Okay, let's ground this. What does managing each of those actually look like?
So let's run through them. Managing the body is about the basics: diet, sleep, physical movement, even just a disciplined walk. The point is making sure your physical self isn't adding static to the system. If your body is exhausted, your mind is stressed. Simple as that.
Makes sense.
Then you have the intellect. This is about understanding how your own mind generates fear. Its job is to spot problems, but it often gets carried away, right? Creating all these worst-case scenarios.
The worry engine.
Exactly. So mastering the intellect is teaching it to focus on what's real right now and what's actually solvable, not the million things that might happen.
Okay. And emotion?
With emotion, it's not about suppression. It's about creating a little distance so they don't hijack everything. The goal is just stability, so a small irritation doesn't spiral into a total meltdown.
And the last one, energy. That sounds the most abstract.
Yeah, it can seem that way, but think of it as your overall vitality. When your energy is high, you feel capable, resilient. When it's low, the smallest thing feels like a threat. So managing it is about simple practices that boost that vitality. The claim here is it's pretty radical. If you can get even functional control over these 4 systems, external situations, no matter how chaotic they get, they lose their power to create that internal pressure.
That is a fundamental challenge to how we think about stress. It puts all the responsibility back on us. But here's my question. If self-mastery is the goal, we have to know what we're up against. What exactly is this thing we're calling pressure? Let's define the opponent.
Absolutely. You need that foundation. And when you look at the definitions of stress or pressure, the common thread is always this deviation from a comfortable or natural state.
The deviation.
Yeah. The common denominator is this feeling of coercion. The English dictionary says stress is when you feel worry because you just can't be comfortable in a situation. Your inability to be at ease. That's where stress is born. And in the Mandarin definitions, you see a similar idea. They call it a coercive authority, a force being pushed on you. But here's the synthesis. Whether that coercion is coming from your boss or from yourself because you feel you failed, that pressure always cycles back.
Ah, so you're either getting hit with it or you're hitting yourself with it.
Precisely. You're either the victim of the difficult state or the frustrated agent of one.
That's the wave hitting the shore twice. That's exactly what happened with my friend. His son felt the internal pressure, and then his dad dismissed it. Everyone has pressure, which just adds this external feedback. It's a cycle.
That dual cycle is the proof. And since most of us can't just jump straight to mastering those 4 systems, we need a tactic for the moment, an immediate intervention. And this is where the source offers a really practical step-by-step SOP.
An SOP, a standard operational procedure. I like that.
Exactly, for when you're overwhelmed right now.
Okay, let's get tactical. I'm in it. I'm feeling the pressure. My mind is just looping on this awful feeling. What's step 1?
Step 1 is to stop that negative focus. Your mind is stuck on the feeling itself. You have to break the loop by immediately shifting your attention outward.
Wait, hang on. Isn't telling someone who's freaking out to just go for a walk, kind of? I don't know, a bit of a cliche. What makes this different?
That's where step 2 comes in. And the intention is everything. This isn't just about getting some fresh air.
Okay.
Step 2 is to externalize attention through physical movement. You go for that walk, maybe for half an hour, but, and this is the crucial part, you deliberately focus on observing the external world, the people, the buildings, the sounds. You're forcing your brain to process objective external data that isn't emotionally charged.
Ah, so the walk is an active practice. You're consciously injecting objectivity into a very subjective emotional state. You're changing what your senses are reporting to your brain.
Precisely. And that physical shift, that forced external focus, it sets you up for step 3, objective observation. When you get back, you're now in a better position to just observe the source of the pressure without being drowned by it. The source calls this guanza kind of clear, detached witnessing.
So the walk isn't running away. It's creating the distance you need to get a clear view.
Exactly. And that clarity leads directly to step 4, examination and dissection. Now, you can ask the real questions. Where is this coming from? Is it external coercion, my boss, a bill, or is it self-imposed, my own crazy standards, my fear of failure?
And by dissecting it, that big, vague cloud of stress starts to become a specific, manageable problem.
It becomes a pinpointed problem, yes.
This is where it all comes together for me. How does this objective observation, this dissection, how does that turn into a repeatable system? How do we stop just being pushed around by pressure and start, systemizing our response?
You do it by using that deception to create your own standard operational procedure for the future. Once you face pressure and take it apart, it stops being this scary emotional thing and becomes, well, it becomes logistical information.
Okay, an example. Let's take test anxiety. A student is just panicking about a big exam.
The feeling is huge and vague. I'm stressed about the test. But if they apply the SOP, they can dissect that. They realize the test isn't one big thing. It's made of parts. They can list out the subjects, identify where they feel confident, and where they feel weak.
So the problem isn't the test, it's the knowledge gap in, say, Chapter 4.
Exactly. And the low mastery areas become the actual problem to be managed. The solution isn't to feel less stress, it's to fix the problem. Improve the study method, schedule more time, ask for help, and the result is a transformation. They go from I'm stressed to I'm confident about everything except this one area, and here's my plan.
The pressure has been replaced by competence. By a system.
It's systematized competence, yes.
And this must apply to chronic things too, like fear of public speaking. That initial panic is an internal pressure cooker.
It is, and nobody gets over that overnight. The fear doesn't just vanish, but your ability to perform despite the fear, that grows through systemization. The SOP is dissecting the fear. Is it forgetting your lines? Then your SOP is a better memorization system. Is it pacing? Then your SOP is rehearsing on video until it's automatic.
So what you're describing is how we use those internal systems we talked about, the intellect and emotion, to build these SOPs.
Yeah.
You're using your intellect to break the fear into concrete steps, and that structure helps calm the emotion.
Exactly right. And the transformation it's profound. You go from being influenced by this outside force to actually transforming it. The pressure stops being stress and just becomes a problem you can solve and eventually build a system for. When you have a system, the pressure is just information telling you which part of your system to activate next.
This synthesis is so powerful because it's both philosophical and at the same time deeply practical.
Well,
So for you, our listener, the advice is kind of twofold, isn't it? The external action is to manage the problems that are causing the stress, using that four-step SOP we walked through.
right, the focus shift, the walk, the objective observation, and the dissection.
But, and this is the key, your ability to even do that SOP depends on managing the self first, on making those four systems, body, intellect, emotion, and energy reliable enough to work with.
And that moment when you truly face and understand the pressure, it removes its control over you. It
Yeah.
brings this incredible sense of release. You stop being helpless and you start being, well, the conductor of your own internal orchestra.
That idea that mastering the internal systems can make the biggest external challenges just shrink or even disappear. That's the stunning reversal we started with. So let me leave you with this final thought to chew on. If stress is just information telling you what you currently can't control internally, what specific system, your body, your intellect, your emotion, or your energy, could you start managing today to make your biggest external challenge feel less like a crisis and more like just another problem to solve?
Thank you for joining us on the Deep Dive.
We'll catch you next time for more exploration into the things that change and the things that don't.